open session coming from, closed session. You only have that, employee that was long-term, and now she passed her certification, so
Yes, sir.
recommendation.
Recommendation is that the Board of Trustees approve the employment of professional staff as discussed in closed.
Motion.
A motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Sammy Houston. Questions, concern? All in favor? Okay, motion passes. We're going into, consent items, minutes of the boards held on February 10th, February 17th, February the 24th. I don't know if you all want to take them together or individually, so, most of us were here, I think Mr. O'Neill was up. Do you have any questions on any of the,
And this is just for the minutes,
minutes in the?
4 minutes. All three?
Motion by, Mr. Mata to approve the, minutes of February 13th, 1724. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Sammy Houston. Questions, concerns, and not? In favor? Okay. Then on B, consideration to approve the monthly bills for, February 2025. Do I have a motion for that?
I have a couple of questions for, I guess. A motion. You move? Yeah, my move. You move?
Okay, motion, second,
I'll second.
Okay, second.
okay,
On, there was a couple of ones that I was kind of like interested in, como for example, on page 32, Hondo ISD, what is that, 14,524?
I wouldn't know what that is. Mirna, do you know what that is? Hondo ISD?
Hondo ISD, is that, are we paying them or what's going, I mean, that's quite a bit of chunk of change right there.
The co-op. Isn't it?
For you?
Sorry, it might be, because that's.
Okay.
Might be what?
It's a co-op for, that's how we receive the deaf hard hearing services and visually impaired services. We jurors for deaf hard hearing and visual impairments that come from Hondo ISD to provide services for our students, and we have several that are visually impaired and deaf hard of hearing.
So it's contracted services.
If that's the one I'm thinking.
Okay.
Can we get clarification on that?
We will send it to you.
Okay.
get another one, Mr. Mata?
And then, the food service excellence, I mean, there's on 22025, and then and that's on page 31. I see it again on page 32 on 226, and that's for another addition, an additional 35, so it's 55 grand for.
Mirna, where's Mirna? I'm assuming these are their fees, but they don't get paid out of general operating fund. They should get paid out of federal.
We don't have to pay the guy that helps.
No, they get paid straight out of SFE.
Or the.
She's absent today. Ana Luz is absent today, yeah. But we will look into that.
That's quite a chunk of change, right?
If it's SFE, it should not come out of local.
I mean, are we buying food or are we paying, what's the,
We would be purchasing, yes.
on that?
We would be purchasing. But we don't purchase directly from them. We purchase from Cisco, but we go through SFE.
And then, Raptor Technologies, page 30, it's another, I'm gonna start doing that, I'm gonna start questioning anything above 5,000.
That's fine. Raptor Technologies one,
Is Raptor about,
That's our visitor management system that we use to,
security?
for security, yes, for safety, when we have visitors.
That's the camera ones?
no, the,
No, sir, it's the one where we scan IDs.
Okay.
It's an, it scans the DPS website to make sure that, people don't have outstanding warrants.
Is that monthly or is that like?
No, that's a yearly fee, sir.
That's a yearly fee?
The yearly fee? Okay.
Yes, sir.
And so Divine High School would be like, not a co-op again, would it be? Would it be for like something for athletics?
yes, that's Divine ISD.
30?
Divine ISD wouldn't be another co-op, that would be like for athletics, right?
Probably the use of a gym.
Okay, and then on the same page, Fastball Integration LLC, an
One,
additional 27,
Yeah.
that's the cameras or?
That's the fencing project, sir. That's the actual access for the gates. So that's where the little intercoms and the card readers, that's that installation, the electricity, all that. All bundled up together. Yes, sir.
So Raptor provides a certain service and that's another part of another service,
Yes,
that's,
sir, that's a different part.
okay.
That part is used by the campuses, sir, when we have visitors for different events. When parents come in to visit the campuses, they have to get Raptored in. Basically, they provide their ID, it scans it against a register, a database from the DPS, and if they're clear, they're allowed to come.
Okay, and then on page 28 and 29, I've seen this a couple of times and now I'm curious, Mansfield Oil Company of Gainesville?
that's diesel, that's the fuel for our buses.
Buses?
Correct?
For the fleet and the buses. I keyed in the invoice, that's why.
Fuel.
It's fuel.
What?
Fuel,
Oh, okay.
Not just where the,
Where are we getting oil from?
right, is that just where their headquarters is at or?
I cannot speak to where they bring the fuel from, Anna, do we know?
No, that's not stated
Yeah.
on the invoice,
Ms. Briones, how
It's
can,
delivered.
but it's a co-op.
It's co-op, yes.
okay, how many times a month or a semester does Cecilia Reyna come?
Oh, that's weekly. Cecilia Reina is weekly.
She's weekly?
Yes.
And she bills for two different professions. So she's a duo. She's a diagnostician and a speech pathologist.
Okay, okay.
So she bills separately too. So she'll bill her educational diagnostician work.
Oh, yes, I remembered when,
And then she bills the speech pathology work. I've kind of offset some of the costs for the speech pathology work because I'm also testing and reporting, but it's still, I can't.
Do all of them, yes.
So she kind of picks up, but most of the bigger invoices are for a diagnostician.
okay, thank you, I remember when we brought her on.
The lady we met on the contract and, what you hated the contract, so those services, I mean, they kill us because, I mean, we have to contract with them.
Yes, and that's the biggest thing is with all these services that are contracted with anything with testing, LSSP, OT, it's one of those things, the service gets decided, and unfortunately, we don't have local people, to assist with that.
And they have to come to Crystal City, you can't do it because you have to meet with the individual child or whatever.
And that's what we want to have thorough evaluations in person is best, but we do have some virtual, so that's why some invoices aren't as big as the others because they are able to do it virtually. For especially like psychological evaluations, those, I mean, it's better to get eyes on the student. So it just kind of like every month is different. Some invoices are higher, a little bit lower, depending on the amount of results we get.
So then I got on page, and that's where I was confused with the Southwest Food Service Excellence, because then we have an additional 5,406 of food services program. I mean.
Where are you at?
That's on page 27. Okay, who's buying what?
What page?
I'm on page 27, and then they say food services program, and that's 5,406.
February 7th. 2/7.
Are you talking about Cisco?
No, it's,
CCISD food services and the other one is the excellence.
Food service excellence that we paid almost 55 grand. We have another additional 5 for food services program.
I'm assuming, I mean, I would have to look at the transaction, that these are snacks for the pre-K program, for pre-kinder and kinder.
Okay.
One,
My last one would be the, was Bill on the go, and then, ¿cómo se llama? And then on, Velasquez, that was another night, that's a little bit over 24.5. I mean, are we still,
Well, remember that Mr. Solomon had CFO on the go, that he has his 60-day loss. And Robert is, right now is working with the district.
Paid off with CFO on the go?
No.
Yep.
so are we still gonna use, because that's kind of high, I mean, if we can find, I don't know, I mean, are we almost done with, for the.
so,
Yeah.
on that, we're gonna, we have a
We
budget
can,
hitting.
we have a budget meeting next Wednesday, this Wednesday.
So all those questions to deal with budget, we can, I mean, it will. And then the other thing that's really recommended by, called the lady we met with and.
Linda, Nelly,
And when we put items under
consent.
consent, if a board member has questions, call the superintendent. That way, she can bring the answer and tell us here versus we're.
Okay.
So, and that's both on the, she mentioned that both on the bills and the agenda.
The agenda items.
That when we get the agenda and you have a question on a bill or two, call the superintendent. By that time, I mean, you might get your answer. You have another question, but we can do it. Any more questions? We have a motion, a second.
Yeah, Vince and Peggy second.
Okay, all in favor? Okay. Motion passes. Okay, we did, we already did. And he said on D, you're gonna
On B.
table it?
Yes.
Table B on the action items, that's the building. And then C, discussion action to approve donations for the special.
We have to vote for the table?
I guess we have to vote, need a motion to table, action B. A motion. Tabling the building.
I motion to table item 9B, discussion action, approve lease of building located at 805 East Crockett Street.
Okay, second,
Okay.
good much. Questions, concern?
Why are we tabling?
Because we just met with the potential vendor, and she wants to take a look at the lease before committee.
All in favor? Item C, and then discussion action to approve the donation for the Special Olympics.
Mrs. Mendoza will give you a brief presentation on Special Olympics coming up March 27th.
Thank you.
Board, in front of you, I did give, this is our, Special Olympics flyer for our students. This year's Special Olympics will be on March 27th, which is on a Tuesday, starting at 9 a.m., where we always hold it in Eagle Pass ISD. So it's that student activity center when you're going into Eagle Pass. We would love to have, any more number of 10, so our students really can see like our students in action when they go to these, Olympics. This is kind of the one event they have yearly, they get excited for it, our kids are pumped and ready to go. So we hope we can see you all there. With the donations, the second page you'll see is kind of an agenda, so you can see when events start. Usually once, how the day works is usually we come in, we wait for all the bus routes to kind of clear. Our students take off, they do their kind of team, Olympic parades, they walk around the stadium, and they begin the events, and then we do, give them lunch at Peter Piper Pizza, and then back before the end of the school day. The donations listed in front of you is from businesses that we, created partnerships with, or, that just know us, that love our kids, love our district, and this is.
The donations are on page 43.
Yes, the donations are on page 43. So this is just, businesses that donate for students. What you also have with you is, this is a design of the shirts for the Special Olympics. And these donations will go to cover the cost for the shirts for our students and staff that will be attending the Olympics.
Do we ever ask CF1 to go to where to donate?
We might,
Se los están quitando todo.
we might have to.
Like for our kids and these businesses really love, they love our students. These are some that have been donating every year. And they'll be the first ones to ask as well, when is Special Olympics again? So, and Mr. Martinez is the one that coordinates Special Olympics for us every year.
What grade levels do you take?
It's everyone, so we take for our ESD babies, so ages 3 all the way to, 21 years old if they're in our life skills units. So it's all ages.
Can people still, or, organizations still donate if they wanted to before March 27th?
They could, but
It could, we would have to take it to bring it back to the board.
Has to be board approval.
Did the athletic booster club provide any money?
They did, there was it was outside of the school district. I know several PTOs and athletic booster clubs where, there was, a tracksuit involved. So for our students, which was outside of, it was more parent initiated. And yes, businesses, PTOs, athletic booster club donated, so all our students will also be wearing, their brand new track uniforms as well. So they will be looking really good on March 27th.
March 27th.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve the donations given?
A motion to approve the donation for the Special Olympics. Oh, recommendation.
The recommendation is that the Board of Trustees approve the donations for Special Olympics scheduled for March 27 of 2024.
A motion.
Motion by Mr. Mata, second.
Second.
Second by Sammy Houston. Questions, concerns? Not all in favor? Let's see, maybe you'll see one of us later.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay, action item D, discussion action to add, revise, delete policies as recommended by staff by task policy 44 service and according to the instructions for the procedure and policy manual update.
So
124 on to final reading. This is the final reading.
this is a final reading. You've had these policies already for a little bit already. The recommendation is that the Board of Trustees approve to add, revise, or delete local policies as recommended by TASB Policy Service and according to the instruction sheet for localized policy manual update 124 on second and final reading. Policies include CAA local, CDA local, CY local, DH local, EHB local, EHBB local, FFG local, and GKA local.
And also recommended to the school district by test.
Correct.
Approve.
A motion.
Mr. Mata, second.
I'll second it.
Second by Ms. Young. Questions, concerns? Not all in favor? One abstention. They want to, 4,
401.
0, 1. Number 10, we go into informational discussions, A, discussion, scheduled meeting between, members, superintendents, and the new LSD coach, Linda McNally.
McAnally.
Jeez.
On page 85 of your manual, Ms. McAllen, and she's joining us remotely, would like to schedule a board meeting. And so you have on page 84 her opening, her availability, Tuesday, tomorrow, between 11 and 1:30. Tomorrow again, between 4 and 6. Wednesday, between 10 and 2. Thursday of this week, between 9 and 12:30. And Friday of this week, between 4 and 6. If you have availability and have time to meet with Ms. McAnally, she's joining us remotely for us to begin scheduling.
Can you hear me, Ms. Briones?
We can.
Okay, yes, I believe that it's Thursday, the 13th. I'm unavailable Friday. I'm
Oh, I'm
traveling
sorry.
down.
Yes, ma'am,
Yes.
Thursday.
Right, I'm traveling to Laredo and may meet with Mr. Martinez down there on that LSG review.
Okay.
But I will, if we can get 3 together with you at a time, and if there's a better time, I will do my best on Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. And if you need it later than 6, if after 6 is better on those days, on either Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I'll make myself available. I'll move things around for you.
Linda, and does it have to be this week?
No, ma'am. The only reason in trying to do that was so we could start the plans.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am, for the board goals.
I'm not gonna,
I can't do Wednesday because we're going to be getting ready for budget workshop. And Peggy, you're going to be out on the 11th?
well, yeah,
Yes?
yeah, I have a doctor's appointment.
Okay. And I don't know if any of you can do,
Both, all 5 of us have, or 7 of us have to be there, correct?
No.
well, 3 at a time.
Oh, 3
She
at a
wants to
time.
visit with you 3 at a
They'll do it
time
with
with a quorum, with a full.
I wouldn't mind one after 5 or something, because I'll be busy this week.
On Thursday, Sammy?
Thursday?
No, after 5, Linda, can you do after 5?
There's one for,
On which
Yep.
date, please? On Thursday?
on the
Thursday, any day really, but Thursday if that's what's available.
Okay, Thursday's available. I'm available from 4 to 7 whenever. I think it won't take longer than an hour. I don't even know if it'll take a full hour.
So it wouldn't be all of us that day.
No, 3 at a time.
I'll do Thursday, 4
Thursday?
4 to 6, I think.
Okay, so Sammy,
It'd be Zoom, right?
yes.
Yes. So do we have 3 along with Sammy or just Sammy?
I can meet, I mean, I already met with you,
Right.
but I can be here also,
Thursday?
on Thursday.
I don't have anything going on Thursday.
That's 3 of
Okay.
us.
That'd be great. Do you want it at 6? Do you want it 5 to 6? What works best for the 3 of you that,
I'll probably
I'm good all
do
day.
the 4. I'll do 4. If it's Zoom, I'll do 4.
From 4
At 4?
4 to 5?
or 5.
That's good.
Okay, if y'all will make coffee, I'll drink coffee here and we'll Zoom it. Save you some money. Sounds good.
So we got,
Cruz, do you have any? Yeah, we're good on the 13th.
Okay, and
I don't know.
I'll get, we have 3 that day plus Miss Briones, correct?
Ms. McAnally, this is Mr. Martinez. I had spoken to you about maybe doing something on Friday, a meeting in Laredo. But
Yes, sir.
I'm actually not going to go into work, so I'm going to be here in Crystal on Friday.
Okay,
So-
no worries. No worries. We'll schedule another time, sir.
I can meet anytime through Zoom during the week if anybody
might be whatever.
wants to meet
Monday?
one of these open times.
Yeah,
Whatever,
Mr.
yeah.
On
Can you do Tuesday? or no?
Wednesday,
Yeah, I can do Tuesday through Zoom. I mean,
Yo también I would have to
From 4
get
to
to
5?
Zoom.
from 4 to 5?
Tuesday,
From 10
In the
to
morning or,
11 to,
tomorrow?
I would prefer the afternoon.
It's short notice.
Yeah,
Wednesday,
that'll work. 4
Wednesday.
to 5 tomorrow, I guess.
Okay, and Mr. Espinosa says Gabriel and
Move up my meeting.
Victor.
That'll work.
from 10 to 2 on Wednesday, but we'll have
but
to
it's,
run it by them. But you
it's an
have,
hour, I mean, she wants an hour, it's,
maybe from 10 to 11?
10 to 11?
Yes, ma'am.
And- Okay, and I'll get names of which board members so I can maybe start getting names and faces. That'll be great. That'll be great.
Me and Vince can do Tuesday.
Tuesday at 46? Okay.
Tuesday, oh, I'm sorry, I thought you said 10. 4 to 6 on Tuesday?
That's for
Would
you.
be,
Two
Vince
other,
Martinez and Cruz Mata
yeah,
Through Zoom.
Okay,
through Zoom.
There-
Yes.
through Zoom, yeah.
okay, that's 4.
Vince Martinez and Cruz Mata.
Okay. Cruz and Martinez. And so there was not a 10 o'clock on
Yes,
Tuesday?
on Wednesday, no, on Wednesday.
Okay, the
10 to
10 is
11.
on Wednesday. 10 to 11. Gotcha. Okay, I confused myself. I apologize. Okay.
That should cover everybody.
Okay, so we have all of you. Well, that's awesome. Thank you so much. We'll be talking LSG. If you still have your LSG manuals and can dig them up, that'd be great. If you don't, then I'll send a copy perhaps to Ms. Carlos and see if we can't get those printed for the next meeting, not this one. We don't have to have them, but if you have them, that'd be great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We can give you a copy.
now we'll check to see if we have them, I think I have mine on me.
Okay, and may I recap, so I'm sure I'm straight on this. So on Tuesday from 4 to 5, there's one meeting. On Wednesday from 10 to 11, there's a meeting, and on Thursday from 4 to 5.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, wonderful. Thank you all so much. I really
Thank you.
appreciate you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Ms. Blanes, didn't you say you weren't gonna be available on Wednesday?
Yeah, but I'll visit with Linda,
Can you just,
and we'll let Victor and Gabriel know.
They have,
just
Send
go
you a
ahead
reminder.
and
there's a question.
Jonas, Linda McNally, coach, what does LSG stand for?
Lone Star Governance.
go ahead, I mean, typo, the people were going to different dates and just send us all,
Yes.
everybody.
I will
everybody
take care of that, yes.
Everybody knows when we're gonna be coming, to this meeting.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
We still need her, or,
No, she's good. She's taking time.
oh. Okay, superintendent's reports.
Next, on the agenda, you have our attendance year to date. Mr. Espinosa, you had asked us, and I apologize that this is, print is pretty small. January, February have been very critical months for us for the last couple of years. We have so many illnesses that are going on. Our attendance is suffering for it. The first table that you have there is attendance as of the end of February. Our attendance overall was at 91.36. Mr. Espinosa, you wanted the breakdown by grade level, and so I gave you.
By campuses.
The report gives it to you by grade level, so what you have is pre-kinder at 89, and I'm just gonna round, 89%, kinder at 90%, first grade at 92%, second grade at 93%, third grade at 94%, fourth grade at 93%, fifth grade at 92%, sixth grade at 92%, seventh at 92%, 8 at 90%, 9 at 90%, 10 at 91%, 11 at 90%, and 12th grade at 90%. So we are overall for year to date as of February the 28th, we were at 91.36. Year to date also, as of last Friday, we are still struggling with attendance. We are at 91.37, kinder at 89%, pre-kinder, kindergarten at 90%, first grade at 92%, second grade at 93%, third grade at 94%, fourth grade at 93%, fifth grade at 92%, sixth grade at 91%, seventh grade at 92%, eighth grade at 90%, ninth grade at 90%, 10th grade at 91, 11 at 91, and 12th grade at 90.
Third grade is doing great,
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
really showing up.
Compare it to last year at this time in March of 2024, our attendance was at 90.8%. So we're still a percent better, but we're still struggling with attendance.
Well, the days, we had some cold days, windy days.
And we have applied for a waiver for those dates, and we're waiting for CA to give us approval. And that should help our attendance, because that week was the entire week. About a week and a half, right, Robert, of poor attendance.
Okay, on C,
Presentation, Mr. Alvarado is going to give you an update on TIA data validation updates.
Thank you.
Thank you, Robert.
So I got a little packet put together on things that can help explain the TIA data validation results. As you all know, our TIA application was denied. On page 1, on that first page, that first little paragraph, it says, "Thank you for your recent data submission based on holistic review of your system of record and data validation results. Designations have been denied pending on district appeal. For districts that do not have yet full system approval, your local designation system was denied pending an appeal." So we received this email on February 4th. TIA gave us an opportunity to do an appeal. If you look at towards the middle of the page, it says your district was identified as denied pending a district appeal for the following reasons. Low check 1, what contributed to a low correlation between observation scores and student growth scores. Low check 9, what contributed to designations misaligning to the teacher observation statewide performance standards. What is the rationale for why this occurred? Please consider whether there was poor implementation in a specific teacher category or campus. So those were the main reasons why we had to make an appeal. If you look at toward the last 3 pages of the packet, I'm sorry, the last 2 pages, I want to give credit and I want to say thank you to
The last
campus.
pages?
The last 2 pages, sir. I want to say thank you to the principals. They helped me tremendously. We met about 4 days, actually it was 5 days in a row to work on this appeal letter for our campuses. They're the ones with the information. They know what was going on at their campuses. They're the ones know how they tested. They're the ones that know how they observe their teachers. So their input was vital for this information and as a response to TIA. We worked on it together. We felt confident. We reviewed it with Region 20. And even Region 20 felt, that we had a good response to TIA. So we went ahead and submitted. If you go back to page 3, it says the teacher incentive allotment, TI data validation results. It says, "Thank you for your recently submitted data validation appeal. Based on a holistic review of your appeal has been granted, and therefore the system has been denied." That middle paragraph, it says, "Crystal City did not identify issues in their system related to observation ratings being approximately equal to statewide performances standards for teacher proficiencies in each of the teacher designation levels, check 9. 21 of your 36 teachers that were submitted for designation had teacher observation scores that were below the statewide performance standards for teaching proficiency. Specifically, they were heavily misaligned at the master's designation level. Based on the appeal narrative, the district does not have a thorough understanding of check 9 and how it is calculated. The district presented next steps for students' growth measures analysis across the campuses, but did not identify next steps related to designation practices to ensure alignment of the statewide observation performance standards when recommending teachers for designation, which is the focus of Check 9. While the district addressed correlation in Check 1 with a plan for appraiser collaboration, there was not a thorough root cause analysis that examined both examinations and student growth. The district failed to identify issues in their system or next steps to address their issues for Check 9 and therefore did not meet the outcome needed for the appeal. So one thing that I want to bring here is if you go to the next page, the next page where it says the teacher designation allotments, the page looks like this. So one of the things that ended up happening, if you look at towards the bottom, it says recognized teachers represent the top 33% of the Texas teachers. The exemplary designations represent the top 20% of the teachers, and the master's designations represent the top 5% of our teachers. So one of the main things that happened with us is at our elementary levels, our teachers, and this Ms. Bermea has stood here in front of you all, and she presented her data information, and she shows that our teachers are actually doing better than the state, than Region 20 and the state. So one of the main things is that
What data is
CIA,
that? What data is that?
the iStation, our iStation data.
But is it really reliable?
Yes, it's.
I mean, yes,
From what I understand, that test, there's the teachers in there giving out the test or something like that. I mean, so how do you know they're not taking it over and over? You know, that bumps up the scores. I think that's why this got denied, right?
Well, I'll explain it, but I wouldn't be able to tell because I'm not in the classroom. But so our students, the data shows that our students did really good at the elementaries using the iStation data. That bumped up our master teachers when we designated teachers. And according to the state, our numbers didn't match up to where it should have been 5% masters, 20% at the exemplary level, and 33% at the recognized level.
You can have a master's teacher your first year in teacher incentive allotment?
Yes. It all depends on how they do in their teacher observations and in their.
Yeah, it's like everything has to come together, the scores, the evaluation, yeah.
So one of the things, if you go to the next page, and it's underlined, I underlined it there.
Which is it?
Right after.
The teacher observation performance standards.
Yeah.
So when you read this, it says teachers in each of the 3 designated categories tend to have scores above these minimum averages. However, the holistic review may allow for scores that are nominally lower than these stated minimums in some cases. So one of the things that happened for us is that our test scores at the elementary level were really high compared to some of our teachers that had observations that were not as comparable to their scores. So their scores were up here, but their observations were a little bit skewed down here.
Those teachers, how were they scored? Were they scored under master, exemplary, or recognized?
Most of them were in the masters. And then, but how it says right here, when you do a holistic review, it may allow for scores to nominally lower Teachers in each of the 3 designated categories tend to have scores above these state minimum averages. However, the holistic review may allow for scores that are nominally lower than these stated minimums in some cases.
So were they missing something in their evaluation?
In some cases means that is a question that we have for TIA. We have a set up meeting tomorrow with TIA. I'm inviting the principals. The principals are noticed. We still have questions on, our results because the way we graded our teachers, it falls in line with what TIA allows us to do. Yet when we met with TIA through a webinar before, when we were working with the appeal, they started saying that our teachers, could have done better at the 3.7, at the 3.9, and at the 4.5. So those are questions that we still have for TIA moving forward. Right now, what I have to report is that we were denied, but we get a second chance. In April, we're gonna do a couple of changes, working with the principals on how we can improve. Tomorrow, we have a meeting with TIA where they're gonna guide us on what we can improve moving forward. And then next October is when we will submit the data for this year moving forward. Unfortunately.
Does this affect our high school teacher that started getting it in La Pryor and it followed?
No, it doesn't affect.
She still gets,
Correct, yes.
okay.
So you mentioned that because the students were, the teachers were not at a certain level, but were scored or rated at a certain level, but, they were rated low, but the students scored high. Is it safe to say if those teachers were designated as recognized designations, would the outcome be different?
Well, it was more on their, the scores are the scores. So that's what we reported. What we could have worked on is their observations. Their observations could have been a little bit higher. But again, when you're scoring for TIA, we don't want to go in the lens of just looking for TIA reasons. The teachers, we use iStation, but every time that we walk into the classroom, the teacher's not going to be on iStation. They might be doing something different. So their scores, over here are a little bit different. TIA forces us to see their observations through the lens of TIA, but for T-test purposes, we don't see, through the lens of TIA. We have to see holistic as the teachers. Sometimes they might be doing stations. Sometimes they might be doing, iStation and other manipulatives. So the teacher might make the observation a little bit different than what it is.
Now, was that correlation made throughout the entire district, or was it just elementary schools, high school, were they different?
The two that were affected and were very similar because of the test scores were the iStation scores, which would be DTR and Zavala. The other campuses, for example, Benito Juarez was kind of the opposite. The teachers were observed pretty high in their observation scores, but their results in STAR were not to par to the observations, so there was skew there too.
They go off of the STAR scores?
Yes, sir. So one of the things that we're working with is, and the principals are aware of this, and they started working already within their campus, is working with their assistant principals so that they can coordinate their T-test scores. One of the things coming back from spring break is that we are going to go into the campus to make time so that the principals can go visit other campuses and they can correlate, because that's one of the findings too. The campuses also need to correlate across campus. The scores should look pretty much the same, from high school all the way through.
Is there something else that can be, or does iStation, does TIA, why is it so lopsided at Kinder and Zavala, and then it levels out over here in Benito? I know it's the state test, but is there something that could be done on the lower grades? Because I know they don't take the STAR. That could maybe even everything else.
So one of the things that we need to make sure is that we have a system in place that, one, the teachers are familiar with, and two, that it's a state-approved TIA.
Recognition, right?
Yeah, it's recognized by TIA as a growth measure tool. And iStation was one of the ones that, one, the teachers were already very familiar with, and two, that the district was already using it. Now, I don't want to say, it is what it is, because our teachers did actually really good.
Did really good.
We cannot take away from the teachers that scored high. Their tests, their students, and I'm not there in the class, but what we can tell you is that they do take it once a month, and each month they show growth. So when Ms. Bermean and Ms. Mata come in and present their information, we are very proud of those scores, because we are doing better than the region.
Well, it's not the teachers, it's the appraisers. There's something.
Well, there's just
Up
things
there.
that we need to work on. There's things that we need to work on.
So what TA wants to see, relative to TIA is that as teaching is improving, so are student outcomes. And they need this to be aligned. And so what I think, and I'm not overseeing TIA, but I think it's more a matter of T-tests, of making sure, number one, that admin is calibrating together, that they spend enough time calibrating together so that when we go in and observe classroom instruction, we all receive the instruction for what it is and give them credit for what we see. The other is the distribution that TIA has, that, you know, as Robert was explaining, TIA has 33% of the teachers in one category, 20% of the teachers in another category, and only 5% of the teachers in another category. Crystal City ISD is undergoing transformation since we started. And we see leaps and bounds in terms of growth at the foundation grades, because we've really been hitting the foundation grades really hard in reading and math. So our scores may seem anomalous to TA because there's so much growth, but they are indeed factual scores. Our teachers are doing that well in terms of instruction. Our students are doing that well in terms of performance. What we have to understand is in domain 2 in instruction of T-TEST, which are the dimensions that most impact TIA. And we have identified those 3 dimensions. They are in the support documentation that Mr. Alvarado has presented to you. So as we calibrate, we're going to be very intentional about calibrating around those 3 dimensions. So, because they inform us in terms of assessment. That's a process that has been ongoing. We have refresher courses for our administrators every year. The issue is constancy. We just need to make sure that the administrators, both of them, have enough time, especially at the beginning of the year when we're getting to know our staff and our students, and what the framework is going to look like in each respective classroom, that they understand the rubric and what it's trying to measure for what it is. And so we know that we know that campuses have already started the calibration process. We're not going to wait for the next year. We do have the opportunity to resubmit the application, which is our intention. I do believe that we, even though TIA is not giving us credit, I do think that we did achieve the root cause of the problem. It's not the assessment. It is in T-tests. It's in how we are implementing T-tests. So as our students are performing better and better every year, so should teaching in regards to how we're assessing them in T-tests. So ongoing training for our leadership team.
Where's 3 growth or 3 what?
3 dimensions. They are in that principal statement, the narrative, at the bottom of the page, the 3rd bullet, 2.1, 2.3, and 2.5.
In this page? In the last page. The bottom
I
bullet.
always thought that, the way the TA would identify teachers was by how high the students were scoring.
Yes, unfortunately.
But it's, yes, but relative to
Their standard, yeah.
relative to T-tests and based on their distribution.
What is check 9?
Check 9 is how how we correlate it to the state standards.
Okay.
Which is, like I said, which is this one right here.
Okay.
You know, the state wants us to have 5 teachers at masters. They want us to have 20 teachers at the exemplary, and they want us to have 30 teachers at recognized.
And
we were higher based on our masters. They want us 5%, we hit 17%.
Yeah.
But again, because of our elementary teachers that I do give them credit that scored really good in their tests.
Are they aware of this? The teachers understand?
Yes. Our principals went back on the days that we can talk to.
Okay.
And I do want to say that everything that we use for T-test, including the elementaries, was state standards. The STAR, it makes our students grow and measures them on a 1-year growth. When we did the iStation, we measured it the exact same way on a 1 year's growth. It's just unfortunate that we have some of our even kinder students that are already reading at first and second grade level. So that helps the teachers
It's a problem to
tremendously.
have,
We have third graders that are reading.
Getting denied is not a good problem to have.
not a good problem, no.
So we will submit again. We will try. We are bringing in some teachers for their input as we move forward. I've asked the principals to go and identify teachers from each campus so they can come in and give input too. Moving forward on the plans that we might adjust our plan for next year.
And y'all are submitting for 25, 26, right? It's not gonna be.
Robert, what are the next webinars that are coming up?
The next webinar tomorrow, we will meet with TIA where they're gonna talk about how we can improve our plan.
But based on our plan.
Correct. Specifically, they're gonna talk to Crystal City, specifically.
I'll be there.
Can you ask about growth that is above and beyond a year's worth? Because that's the problem that we have,
Yes.
is that our kids are growing beyond a year. And how does TIA take into account years where our kids are just growing?
So it
Shouldn't be penalized for it.
And the other thing that I would like to point out for TIA purposes, check one, because there's 9 checks, and each one is graded differently and it carries different weight. Check one actually carries a weight of 30 points. Check 9 only has a weight of 3 points. But check 9 is the one that kept us from achieving, so 3 points.
Because we were going to exceed the masters. We were going to have more teachers qualify for masters than a traditional district
And,
based on our scores.
and that's, it's based on the scores, or is it based on the, I guess, how the reviews that were done of the teachers?
Both, right?
Both.
Yeah.
You've got to work both. So their observations and their scores, you combine them. So it's a math formula that I can have Ms. Briones send you all. But it's a math formula where you get your observation scores, you get your student growth, you get it, and then they have to meet a minimum point average for each category.
What happens is we graded our teachers too high.
No,
In one area, and that was a correlation, right?
It depends.
In one area, we graded them too low, and then their student growth, they were too high. But when you grade.
Calibration.
But how it says here on that page where I told y'all, when you underline it and you score it holistically, they still met the grade that they needed to get in order to be recognized as a master's and or a recognized teacher. So holistically, they got the grade that they needed to be designated. However, when TIA says, even it says it right there, your master teachers were too many.
When submitting these, can you separate it by campus, or does it have to be entirely as a district?
Well, it could have been by campus or by, not necessarily campus, but by categories. So category 1 is our English teachers from kinder to 3rd grade. Our category 2 is our math teachers from kinder to 3rd grade. Our category 4 is STAR test teachers from 4th grade all the way to English 2. Our category number 4 is our English math teachers from 4th grade all the way to high school, which would be Algebra 1. So we could have, but it would have eliminated multiple teachers. And for this first year, even the Region 20 lady said if it would have been good, it was the bright idea to try and get everybody in. Because it wasn't a guarantee whether we took some people off or on, it still wasn't a guarantee. They were still gonna look at our data and it wasn't a guarantee. So we took the chance and tried to get everybody in. We felt that everybody, you know, and we knew this going in because again, the first email said, you know, that our masters and our elementary teachers were a little bit off. But we just felt that we had a good enough explanation in our validation to say, this is why. And
So correct me if I'm wrong, you mentioned that you could have done it by categories. If we would have done it by categories the first time, we have gotten the TIA,
it wasn't a guarantee. I can't say yes or no.
the chances be higher.
They didn't say if it would have been higher or not. We do know that there was more correlation in the math. The math teachers were a little bit more correlated. Their observation scores and their either STAR scores or iStation scores were a little bit better aligned. But when discussing it with the principals and we discussed it, ultimately I made the decision to get everybody, but it was input from everybody. That, you know, everybody have worked really hard and we didn't want to penalize teachers that did really good. I mean.
Was there any research done, I guess, from other districts or anything to see how they applied and went into it?
Yes,
If they went in step by step or they just took everybody in at once and.
Not on the denial process, but we did follow and I do talk to Mr. Knight from Hondo, because they have an approved plan and it was very similar to ours. So I do get on the phone every once in a while and I do talk to him. He did guide me, but we also had a lot of guidance from Region 20, Ms. Gabby Joseph from Region 20, Ms. Maggie from Region 20 also guided us multiple times. So it wasn't like we were alone. Like I said, we met with them before we went over our plan with Region 20. They said it was good. Of course, they're not gonna say, you know, ultimately it falls on us to submit.
What were you saying that tomorrow you're gonna meet with them or?
Yes, sir.
Who else is gonna be with her?
Me and the principals. Right now, the data is still talking about other teachers' data. So we're not bringing in the teachers yet just because it's confidential on you know, scores and ratings and
I
everything.
mean, it's better that the principals come.
No, yes.
They kind of, more questions for Mr. Alvarado?
Thank you, Mr. Alvarado.
Thank you.
Not. Informational item, David.
This is a MOU between Crystal City ISD and Crystal Ballroom for reunification purposes. We'll give you just a real quick update.
Back in February, got the pleasure of training the campuses on incident command,
Thank you.
the standard response protocols, and standard unification method. We made sure that the staff knew who would be in command of every campus and who would be in command of the district and who would be in command of a violent crime. And in doing so, we needed to have a larger building. We always thought of one of the schools as being the reunification site for the elementaries. We thought of the football field, and for inclement weather, sometimes you can't have somebody that's going to get affected by heat or severe cold. So we needed a larger building. We were fortunate to talk to Freilan and Alma Sendejo, and we came up with an MOU for their Crystal Ballroom as our reunification site. The map that I'm showing you is a Earth Google map, and it's basically in a preliminary stage. We still got to go inside and check the dimensions, check what facilities they have. We already have a contract with Davos for porta potties in case we needed more. And at this point, we've already signed the MOU, and it looks like it's going to be a good idea for an exercise that we plan in the future. If you have any questions, ready.
And the children would go by bus?
It would have to be bused.
Yeah.
we would not have any, unless they're special ed, or maybe that somebody had crutches, we might have to take an SUV to take them to the site. We wouldn't let the parents know where the site would be until all the
day of.
individuals and all the students are at that place. And the district would take charge of the building, getting it set up while the campus comes in, and they take care of the students. We would be assisting them.
Who would be at the building to meet the children? What personnel would be at the building in case there was something that would meet the
It
kids?
would be the campus staff. Of course, they have their own incident command. Then we would have district personnel assisting and getting everything ready. Then we would have maintenance. We would have probably other campus staff that we would bring on board, other professionals to bring on board from the campuses to help out, because this would be a big operation.
Does the district have enough buses to get over there? How many round trips would it take? Time-wise and?
It would also depend on the incident. Say that an incident happened when the campuses was being released. Well, they have their drop-off routes, but all of the buses that weren't in the route process would have to be staging at the bus barn so that we can get them ready. It could be 2 or 3 rounds, maybe more.
Have you timed the routes?
Not yet.
You know how long?
Not for this particular site. We did it with junior high. We did it with one of the elementary schools, but we haven't done this site. All our trainings have been particularly just at the school level, at that area around the football field. I know it takes like about 2 minutes to get each bus from the junior high to the football field. And that's without having any other traffic, no releasing from other schools. That's just like on your best case scenario.
Yeah.
Worst case scenario, that would be a little bit of a chaos. But we've already did our training on the reunification training with all the staff, so they kind of are aware of what needs to happen. And so we feel confident that if we do a big exercise, we can get this job done fairly quickly.
So my question is, I mean, my last question is the distance. It's kind of far, no? Wouldn't it be more sense, like, for example, which one's the other one that's down here quicker?
Campestre?
Campestre.
Yeah, that's another site that we're looking at. I haven't had the pleasure to speak with Alex yet.
Because I'm just thinking that chaos, let's say, for example, there's a shooting and then the chaos, because, people are gonna be coming in and then they're gonna be blocking traffic and trying to get over there. So that's no más.
Yeah, and that's why it's in this planning stage. Chief Gustavo's gonna be working on the traffic routes. I'm gonna be working on the inside of the building. So I'm not aware of what his strategy will be, but I know he's working on that. And again, this would only be for something that's severe, like a violent threat, a shooting, maybe a building collapse, or a fire that we have to move a campus.
Then we also,
It's for something that's drastic.
for the Campestre, one of the things that we have to just be cautious with is if it's a bomb threat type of a situation, if it's within the zone of the blast, because it's close to the schools. So, that's just one, a lot of these reunifications are going to be based on incident. So we need to have multiple MOUs with different local entities, because it depends on the incident. We're not always going to evacuate to one place. It depends on what's driving.
We're going to rework our MOU with the Catholic Church for the parish hall, and that's basically if we had to evacuate due to a fire, we'd be at the parish hall. But even that building is not big enough for a campus. They're very limited on the number of stalls for restrooms facilities. So if something happened where we moved the campus there, it wouldn't be sufficient for that type of use. We would probably have to bring in several porta potties and water, our stockpiles or HEB. Any other questions?
Questions for?
No, it's very well thought out. Thank you.
Thank you. By when do you think you would have it ready to plan?
We're planning to do a site visit next week and then plan out just like a basic walkthrough with staff, no students. Then probably May, an exercise.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jesse.
Thank you.
Okay, the last thing that we have on the adjournment, do I have a motion? Motion by Bruce, second by Cindy.
Yeah.
All in favor?
The time is 7:44.
And we have it, once we have the
Stay at 5:30.
Recording stopped.